Acceleration was rapid. Liftoff occurred under 5,000 feet. A normal climb was set.
An F-4 Phantom was in close proximity with the American supersonic bomber XB-70A. The F-104, with a red tail, is keeping a steady flight path in formation with several other fighter jets. Cruising over
at 30,000 feet, on board the XB-70A, pilot Al White and Carl Cross co-pilot are keeping the XB-70A steady in the air. F-104 starfighter pilot Joe Walker is concentrated on the fuselage of the XB-70A to keep in line with the other planes in formation. These other planes include an F-4 Phantom, an F-5, a T-38 Talon. This formation was put in place by General Electric's photo shoot for their promotion, but unknown to everyone in just under 30 seconds, this would be the XB-70's final mission.
But we need to start at the beginning. What is the XB-70 Valkyrie? In the height of the Cold War, the United States needed a nuclear bomber aircraft that could deliver large payloads as well as outrunning enemy territory SAM missiles. The B-52 Stratosphere bomber was the largest and most capable bomber at the time the United States had in their fleet. There were close to 70 of these long-range bombers in service at the time, and they were effective at their job, but had one fatal flaw. Smaller fighter jets such as the Convair B-58 Hustler, Douglas A-3 Sky Warrior, and Lockheed F-117 and Nighthawk had one advantage. Being fighter aircraft, their speed was their greatest asset, being able to get to 1 to 2 times the speed of sound. But missile technology was rapidly advancing during the time. Even these planes could not outrun the fastest of anti-air missiles the Soviets had to offer. There was a need for a bomber that could not only outrun anti-air missiles but deliver large payloads, as well as being able to soar to high altitudes. 2 companies came up with a solution. The North American Aviation Company, whose main focus was on fighter aircraft during the time, and Boeing Engineering, who were the minds being the B-29, B-47, and B-52 long-range bombers. Even though North American Aviation was the underdog, they had one feature in the XB-70's design that gave them the contract. The XB-70 featured a unique delta wing configuration with a 65-degree sweep angle to minimize drag at high speeds. This made it possible for the XB-70 to ride the shockwave it was producing if it ever got over the speed of sound. This phenomenon is called compression lift. But what is it? In simple terms, the XB-70 is able to surf the shockwave while moving at high speeds, reducing drag and increasing overall speed.
The rollout was only a few days in the future as the landing gear swung back and into the wells. This operation had been flight-proven, and the fitting and adjusting filled the last few hours of manufacturing. As the gear was swinging, speeches were already being written.
He didn't mention, though, that it also has been the heaviest airplane in the world to ever take to the air. It has also been the heaviest airplane that has ever landed on one occasion. It is today the fastest big airplane that's flying in the world today.
The XB-70 was not a small plane by any means. The XB-70 Valkyrie had an enormous wingspan of approximately 105 feet, 32 meters. The length of the XB-70 from nose to tail was approximately 185 feet, 56 meters. The aircraft's height from the ground to the top of its tail was around 30 feet, 9 meters. The total wing area of the XB-70 was approximately 6,297 square feet, 585 square meters. These dimensions made the XB-70 one of the largest aircraft of its time. The massive wingspan and sleek delta wing design were key factors in enabling the aircraft to achieve its high-speed capabilities, as well as providing space for the fuel necessary for extended supersonic flights. The XB-70 Valkyrie was unlike any bomber the United States Air Force has ever seen. Its unique design incorporated several groundbreaking features that were vital to the success of the bomber. The XB-70 featured a distinctive delta wing design with a large wing area that provided high lift at supersonic speeds. This design allowed the aircraft to achieve stability and control at both subsonic and supersonic speeds. The variable geometry wingtips, as well as the delta wings, improved control and stability at different speeds and altitudes. You may notice these wings at the front of the plane. These are the canard control surfaces. The canards were placed near the nose of the aircraft to provide additional control and maneuverability, especially at supersonic speeds. These surfaces aided in maintaining stability and allowed for precise adjustments during flight. The XB-70 was powered by 6 colossal General Electric YJ-93 engines, mounted in pairs on 2 nacelles under the wings. These engines provided exceptional thrust for sustained supersonic flight, contributing to the aircraft's high-speed capabilities. Along with these engines, the XB-70 also had swept wings and an aerodynamic shape. The Valkyrie had a highly streamlined and sleek fuselage shape, which was optimized for high-speed flight, reducing drag and improving aerodynamic efficiency during supersonic travel. The XB-70 was designed to achieve speeds in excess of Mach 3, allowing it to rapidly penetrate enemy airspace. This was due to the fact that Soviet missile speeds were increasing at a rapid rate, and the earlier generation bombers were becoming more outdated with the passing years. The sleek design combined with the gargantuan YJ-93 engines enabled it to operate efficiently at these extreme speeds, while also outrunning enemy missiles by a long way. With its delta wing design and powerful engines, the Valkyrie could reach altitudes above 70,000 feet above the speed of sound, meaning it could reach near space altitudes. This high-altitude capability was intended to help it evade enemy interceptors and surface-to-air missiles if it could not use the speed to evade entirely. The aircraft was constructed using advanced materials for the time, such as titanium and the intricate alloy honeycomb structures in the wings. These materials were chosen to withstand the high temperatures generated by sustained high-speed flight.
The 6th mission was at heavy weight, 457,000 pounds at takeoff.
The aircraft was constructed using advanced materials for the time, such as titanium and the intricate honeycomb structures in the wings. These materials were chosen to withstand the high temperatures generated by sustained high-speed flight. The cockpit was a unique design. It was situated in a raised position that could lower and raise for the pilots to have proper visibility and a clear view of the surroundings. The crew of 2, a pilot and a co-pilot/defensive systems operator, were positioned in tandem. This design would be used on other planes in the future, like the Concorde supersonic passenger plane, as well as the Tu-144 supersonic plane. September 21st, 1964. The XB-70 Valkyrie flew from Palmdale to Edwards Air Force Base in California. Just shortly after takeoff, one of the engines had to be disabled, as well as an undercarriage malfunction warning. As a precaution, the flight was conducted with the undercarriage down, limiting the speed to 390 miles per hour, 630 kilometers per h. The first test flight was considered successful, jump-starting the testing program into action to evaluate the performance and capabilities of the XB-70 Valkyrie. These test flights provided valuable data and insights into the aircraft's design and operation, contributing to the development of large supersonic aircraft, such as the legendary Senior 71 Blackbird, that could also get up to speeds of Mach 3 and higher. Many subsequent flights after allowed the XB-70 to achieve significant milestones. October 12, 1964, during the third test flight, the Valkyrie finally became supersonic, getting up to Mach 1.1. The following flight on October 24th, 12 days, later saw the aircraft flying above Mach 1 for around 40 minutes. Additionally, on October 14, 1965, the XB-70 Numedar 1 surpassed Mach 3 by reaching Mach 3.02 at an altitude of 70,000 feet, 21,000 meters. It is worth noting that the XB-70 experienced challenges with the honeycomb panels used in its construction. Even the paint would wear off in high speeds, which would require a new higher temperature resistant paint to fix the issue. Inexperience with the fabrication and quality control of this new material led to weaknesses, resulting in honeycomb panel failures during supersonic flight. As a result, a Mach 2.5 speed limit was imposed on the aircraft to mitigate the risk of further panel failures. But it was not all success and games on September 21, 1964, when the XB-70 was on its final approach, and when it touched down on the runway, a wheel fire occurred during landing. As the aircraft landed, the rear wheels of the port side main gear locked, causing the tires to rupture and a fire to start. This incident was a result of a malfunction in the landing gear system. The undercarriage malfunction warning that occurred earlier in the flight led the crew to fly with the undercarriage down as a precaution, limiting the speed of the aircraft to 390 miles per hour, 630 kilometers per h, about half of what was originally planned. This precautionary measure was taken to ensure the safety of the flight. However, during the landing, the malfunctioning landing gear caused the rear wheels to lock up, leading to the rupture of the tires. The friction generated by the locked wheels and the subsequent tire blowout resulted in a fire. The exact cause of the malfunction in the landing gear system that led to the wheel fire is not specified in the available information. Even with these incidents, the XB-70 was still a persistent aircraft that met the expectations of the United States Air Force with flying colors. That was until one fateful day, June 8, 1966. The XB-70 supersonic bomber was on a test flight, accompanied by several other aircraft for a photo shoot, including an F-104 chase plane and 3 other Air Force aircraft. This formation stunt was orchestrated by General Electric for a marketing photo shoot for their company. As the aircraft were flying in close formation, the F-104 ends started to spiral out of control and crash into both wingtips of the XB-70, killing its pilot, instantly Joseph Walker. The impact also caused the XB-70 to enter an uncontrollable roll and pitch-up motion. The pilot of the XB-70, Al White, managed to eject, but the co-pilot, Carl Cross, was unable to escape and died in the crash. The XB-70 continued to descend rapidly and eventually crashed into the ground, resulting in a massive explosion in the desert. The crash had a significant impact on the XB-70 program as a whole. The second prototype was put into retirement, as well as General Electric's trust being lost by North America Aviation. After the crash of the XB-70, there was no explanation for how it happened. Many months were spent by North America Aviation trying to find the cause of the crash. There were many theories as to what caused it. One thing that stood out to North American Aviation was how close the F-104 starfighter was to the XB-70. This led to the suspicion that it could have drifted close enough to get caught in the flight path of the XB-70. For example, the crash of Pacific Southwest Flight 182 on September 25, 1978, was caused by a Cessna 172 striking the wing while the plane was landing due to confusing takeoff and landing procedures at the airport. While this was considered, there was another issue was how the XB-70 spiraled out of control seconds after it got struck by the F-104. Another theory was when the vertical stabilizers were destroyed. It also might have caused several avionics systems to fail. The crash of Japan Airlines Flight 123 on August 12, 1985 was caused by the vertical stabilizer compression being destroyed by wear and tear. This also caused several avionics systems to go haywire, but even then the aircraft could fly for 30 minutes until full control was lost. In the case of the XB-70, the spiraling out of control was rapid and dangerous. The pilots most likely tried to reboot or kickstart the avionics, but must have failed. Another theory proposed was the engines themselves had been damaged by debris striking the back engines, which might have caused the uneven falling of the XB-70. For instance, when Air France Flight 4590 crashed shortly after takeoff. The results concluded that the engine fire was caused by a 6-inch piece of metal from a DC-10 that fell off the engine after takeoff, before the Concorde took off. But even with these theories in place, the pilots were trained for situations like this. But why did only one pilot eject from the plane? There are several theories regarding why the XB-70 Valkyrie co-pilot, Carl Cross, did not eject from the plane. Many of these theories were proposed to North America Aviation Company. One of them was an ejection seat malfunction. When the plane started to spiral out of control, there was a chance that the ejection seat hydraulics started to fail, and that locked the co-pilot Carl Cross in his seat. But this theory has some problems with it. Ejection seats are designed with careful consideration of aerodynamics, safety, and the need for rapid escape. They are equipped with various safety features, including systems to prevent unintended ejections and mechanisms to operate at different altitudes and speeds. This means the XB-70's ejection seat would have activated when Cross pressed the button. Another theory proposed was rapid decompression in the cockpit. The XB-70 aircraft experienced a sudden and rapid decompression during its descent. It could have created conditions that made ejection difficult or impossible for the pilot. When Helios Airways Flight 522 went in flight, the flight was set into manual cabin pressure and not automatic pressure. This caused the passengers and pilots to go unconscious while autopilot was flying the plane. But even still, the pilots had oxygen suits that could stand rapid decompression. Another theory was a loss of consciousness in the cockpit. This loss of consciousness, combined with a small window of time to escape, could have doomed the Carl Cross to a deadly fate. But even still, how was the pilot Al White able to eject from the plane, even though he was not knocked out by the blast? That is when North American Aviation could not settle with one theory, they had to settle with many theories. The XB-70 Valkyrie was equipped with a Martin Baker ejection seat for the pilot and co-pilot. The ejection seat is designed to quickly and safely propel the occupants out of the aircraft in the event of an emergency. It was most likely Carl Cross's ejection seat had a malfunction. Combine that with the aircraft's sudden descent and Carl's loss of consciousness, the extreme altitude and speed, and the limited time and reaction window. Carl Cross had no chance of escaping.
On the more investigative side, the National Transportation Safety Board highlighted the close proximity and high closure rate between the XB-70 and the F-104 during the photo shoot as contributing factors. The investigation did not conclusively determine a single cause, but considered the complex nature of the flight operation as a significant factor in the accident. The tragedy led to changes in the way such photo shoots were conducted to enhance safety protocols. In summary, a combination of changing strategic priorities, the emergence of more cost-effective delivery systems, operational challenges, and a significant accident contributed to the decision to retire the XB-70 Valkyrie. The retirement marked a shift in focus towards more versatile and cost-effective strategic weapon systems. As of the making of this video, the United States Air Force has no need to return to supersonic bombers. But there have been advances in hypersonic missile tech. For now, it seems the XB-70 will remain a plane of the past.